Until recently, it was thought that Matt Groening had completely recovered from whatever was making him act so strangely during the dead Bart incident, and if it had affected his normal life afterwards. Recent claims from the employees who found the dead Bart video, however, indicate that Matt Groening went through another similar incident 10 years ago. It was the summer of 1999, and Futurama had recently premiered. Matt was working on 2 shows now, and had started to show signs of stress. When he announced that he was working on another episode, that would be 100% of his own writing. This terrified some of the staff who worked on both shows, but they were hesitant to bring up Dead Bart, and Futurama crew saw no reason to reject Matt's idea. An early version of it was made by the employee who found Dead Bart managed to make a digital copy of it as well. The episode was called Not Long Enough. The episode started with Fry, Leah, and Bender making a delivery for Planet Express. They never were relevant exactly what they were delivering or where they were going, and everyone seemed to be upset about an unexplained event that happened recently. Leela and Bender were angry at Fry, who kept apologizing but was coldly rejected by his friends. They eventually reached a planet that had seemed to be the only house surrounding the empty, desolated fields in the sides. They all knocked on the door and a grotesque alien that seemed to be very old answered. He took the box without a word. He opened it and took a knife out and stabbed himself. The Planet Express crew didn't seem to find this odd or surprising. They simply left the body on the ground and walked back to their ship in silence. The next scene was that of Planet Express, ship flying through space. A dissonant piece of music was extremely loud, and instruments were playing very slow-tuned, played in the background, while the ship flew across the empty backspace. They finally reached Earth and landed on the desolated New York. Fry started apologizing again as they walked through the empty streets. There were no signs of Planet Express building, but Leela and Bender glared at him in silence. Fry gave up and separated from his friends. He walked for quite a while, never encountering a single person. He reached the cryogenics building where he had been frozen. He looked inside and began to cry. The crying went on for a few minutes before he entered the building. Fry went to one of the tubes, set the timer on, and a huge number of it with more zeros than I could count, and locked himself in. The screen then faded out, and then when it came back to the view, it was entirely on Fry. The machine must have partially stopped working, as parts of Fry were decaying. Bone was poking out through his skin in several places. Fry mumbled, "It's what I deserved," and climbed out of the freezing device. He was in surreal, indescribable place. There was even a huge variety of shapes and colors, but it wasn't bright or fancial. It was just closer to faint colors you see if you keep your eyes closed too hard. Fry started walking. The surreal void he was in seemingly to go on and on. He kept walking for a few minutes. The colors kept making shapes you could kind of make out, but none of them were pleasant. After his long walk, Fry found a picture on the ground. It was completely out of place, and his new environment, it looked like something being drawn like a normal Futurama style. It was a photo of himself, Leela, and Bender. Fry looked at it for a few seconds before beginning to cry again. The picture turned into dust soon, and Fry continued walking. The view zoomed down until Fry could no longer be seen, and until the colors were all blended together and turned into a solid black. The view continued to zoom out until we see black and tiny fragment of the pupil in Fry's eyes. His body was frozen, falling off the freezing unit, and was lying in an abandoned room. He was drawn in the same hyperrealistic style as Dead Bart's corpse from the Simpsons episode Dead Bart. Bender and Leela walked into the room. They saw what Fry had done to himself, and Leela said, "He got what he deserved." She checked her watch and said, "Looks like we need to leave for our next delivery." She took a knife out of her pocket, put it in a plain cardboard, and then headed for the ship.